This is my walk-in closet. It's about 5 feet wide by 12 feet deep. I want to add cabinets on either side that are about 12 inches wide, which leaves me with about 3 feet to walk through the middle. I started by cutting the pieces for each of the 3 wall units. The 2 outer units are made up of small compartments for shoes or folded clothes. The middle unit is made up of drawers for belts and ties and sunglasses. I bought a roll of pre-glued iron-on edge banding and cut all the pieces to length while the iron was heating up. Once the iron was hot, I ironed on the edge banding for just a few seconds. Just enough time for the glue to melt and adhere to the edge. Right after ironing, I used a roller to press down the edge. I flipped the piece upside down and used a utility knife to cut off the excess. After quick sanding, I started applying the finish to the drawer pieces. I'm using a glossy polyurethane for all the drawer pieces. I decided to finish all the pieces first because of all the small compartments. Once the 3 coats of clear dried, I was able to assemble the drawers using some glue and some brad nails to hold everything in place. There are 2 drawers for belts. Each drawer has 8 compartments. Once the drawers were complete, I can start on the actual units. I used an oil-based stain and applied 1 coat with a cloth. I made sure to wipe off any excess after a few minutes to allow the stain to penetrate the wood. Once the stain dried, I applied the first coat of finish. I used a satin wipe-on poly and a clean rag to spread it. I applied a total of 3 coats of finish, making sure to sand in between coats with 400 grit sandpaper. It really makes a difference in the final product. After all 3 coats were completely dry, I used 800 grit sandpaper and did a light sanding to get everything smooth. I cut some 2-inch wide pieces of scrap 1/4-inch plywood with a mitered 60-degree angle at the bottom and a 30-degree angle at the top. Once it was all glued together, it gave me 4 steps where sunglasses and eyeglasses can rest. And to make it look nicer, I upholstered it with some navy blue suede. I applied some contact cement to both the plywood steps and the navy blue suede. Once the contact cement was dry to the touch, I could start to carefully upholster the steps. I upholstered 1 step at a time, making sure to remove any air bubbles before moving on to the next step. Once it was dry, I used a sharp utility knife to trim off the excess of each side. I used dowels and glue to assemble the three main units. Each divider has 2 dowels per side. Once the horizontal dividers were done, I could match and drill the holes in the corresponding vertical pieces. Then I glued it all together and clamped it until it dried. To get good glue adhesion, I taped off where each divider would be attached before staining and finishing the pieces. To install the drawer faces, I installed all the drawers and the drawer slides first. Then used some tape to position the face of the drawer while I screwed it from behind. I pre-drilled and countersunk the screws from inside the drawer, then used wooden buttons to cover up the holes. To install each unit, I used some steel pipe to make some L brackets to hold up the units. Each bracket will be secured to the wall and be off the floor by about 12 inches. The same bracket will be at the top of the unit, about 12 inches from the ceiling. Once they were all assembled, I gave them a quick cleaning with some dish soap to get rid of all the grease. To install the L brackets to the wall, I located the studs and marked the location of each bracket. I screwed them in using 3-inch construction screws. Each unit will sit on these brackets. After the first unit was installed, I secured the first section of hangers in between the 3 main units. These 2 sections will be used to hang clothes. Using the same steel pipe, I made some hanger supports and secured them to the wall. Here are all the units installed and secured to the wall. Now you get a better idea of the layout. I installed the drawers to the middle unit and started filling them. And finally, here is the finished product. Phase 2 will be to complete the cabinets on the opposite wall. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.